So 11:11, does anyone know what that means? Have anyone like sometimes when you like turn on your phone or on the street you see 11:11 or when you see like repetition of numbers? So those are actually angel numbers, and in the realm of wellness, angel numbers have different types of meaning, and 11:11 specifically, it means manifestation, and it means that angels are looking over you, and it means possibility, transformation. So this day is quite important to us. That's why we decided to keep this program and to continue to want to speak with you on this topic. It's also a portal opening. So in like the wellness realm, when this portal opened on 11:11, it's much easier for us to manifest things like an external power pushing you forward and to help you succeed into whatever you decide you want to do.
So basically, we wanted to start this panel by giving you a question because we also wanted to know whether or not you're familiar with what is manifestation. Because some of the people, when they first heard of this term, they might think it's like some spiritual stuff. It might seem like it's magic, something like that. People might have bias, so we just wanted to get to know like how you're familiar with the term. Have you tried manifestation, or do you know anything about manifestation? No. Okay, no worries, all good. My name is Gianne. I'm representing Social Club. Bernice.
I'm Leanne. I'm from the Blue Journal, and I'm a podcast host as well.
Yes. So basically, why we gathered this panel together is because I see a lot of queen of manifestations in my life. Basically, I see people in my life that they're able to manifest things that they want, say career, relationship, everything, goals in their life, and they're the perfect example. And for me, I've also realized that I've also manifested things that I did not notice that I wanted when I was younger. But then now I see, this is the life that, the Gianne back then at 16 years old would want. Yeah. So I realized that actually we all have a power of manifesting things to happen. It's just that we did not understand what is the concept or how it works beneath. But basically, I wanted to first break all the bias for you first, because manifestation is not something I see as a very spiritual thing. If you are not sure like where your religion or where your spiritual belief comes from, but I believe that manifestation is a combination of a psychological and a behavioral pattern principle. Basically, if you have the right mindset and if you have your vision, you have something that you visualized, and then the tools to work on that, you'll be able to attract the things that you want in life. And we will explain with our own individual sharing and also some tools that help us to manifest things faster into our way. So this is basically what you're gonna take away after the whole panel discussion.
Yeah. On top of what Gianne just said about breaking the bias, I think that it is also really important for us to know that psychologically there is one illusion called the frequency illusion, which means, for example, have you ever bought something, a jacket, for example, a denim jacket, and then after you bought it, you go like, wait a second, everybody on the street owns the same fucking jacket. But that's the thing, it didn't happen after you got it. It was always there, but it's just because you got it, you're paying attention to it more. And then because you're paying attention, you're being more aware of what's actually happening around you. These are the things that you're quote unquote attracting. So manifestation to me also is just being very aware of what I want to become and the ways that I could show up as her, and also, being aware of my surroundings, of the situations of people who could support me into becoming the most ultimate version of that Bernice. So that's another psychological, effect that supports what Gianne said about manifestation. I know a lot of people think that it's something very spiritual, but it's something honestly so logical.
That everyone can do.
Yeah.
Let me just give a very quick example, because I always love to explain how amazing we human beings are, because we as human beings, we don't know how amazing things what we can do, but basically we have the power to manifest, say I wanted to pick up my phone, I did it. I want to call someone, I did it. But say any other living being on earth probably don't have the energy or willpower to do what we wanted to do. This is very simple. Pick up our phone, pick up the call, but this is not something that any other living being can do because it involves our brain functioning, asking us to actually move our hand to do it. So manifestation basically is the same, but you just don't see how we do it with our brain. So yeah,
I also want to add a little bit
Yeah.
about what she said. So how I explain manifestation to people is that, so basically our brain is a muscle and we train our muscle, and with manifestation, with the right tools, we can rewire how we think things. So like what Gianne just said in her example, like how we connect, picking up the phone and calling someone as like a series of action, we can rewire to have millions and billions series of actions that leads to the outcomes that you want. And for example, like I used to be a writer, so I will associate writing to getting my paycheck, to getting money, to like living basically. And when I wanted to change like profession, I needed to associate another profession with making money. And before I do that, my brain never has that connection. So it will not have like, oh, say like taking videos to like money. There's no connection there. So with manifestation, it also comes with you making like a conscious decision of like making the first step to do the action, and then eventually rewiring your brain and building that little muscle to now recognize, okay, I can do many other things that also leads to money.
So I think let's start with our personal sharing because I think that's the most powerful. Basically our first-hand experience of how manifestation helped us into getting things that we want to achieve in our life.
We each kind of like prepared a little like anecdotes with experiences with manifestation and just things that we've realized along our way. So for me, something that was quite life-changing in the course of my 20-something years living was that when I was in college, so I dropped out after the first year, and that was because of like mental health issues, me not aligning myself with like the traditional educational system, so on. And being a Chinese student dropping out, that was a big deal. And me being the first person in my entire family without a college degree, that was like life shattering. But now actually thinking back, it was the best decision that I could have made. And along the course of my career, I've tried becoming an entrepreneur, starting my own events business. During COVID, obviously, that whole thing was shut down, and I had to pivot into working in an office. And during that time, everyone would be like, you don't have a college degree, how the fuck are you gonna get a job? Isn't that like the first thing that like people ask you about? And yes, I had a lot of those fears. I had a lot of self-doubt. And in my mind at that time, I just really wanted to get a job. And aside from that, another factor that was pushing me, that the universe I felt was basically throwing me into the ocean with like COVID. My initial like events business shutting down was that my family also experienced like financial troubles, I think as a lot of people did during COVID times. And that felt like my life was over, honestly, for like a period of time. Like I didn't have a college degree, I don't have like actual like office experiences. My family couldn't really like be there for me during that time. Somehow something really magical happened, that on Instagram, I saw an Instagram story of this girl that I met I think years ago at like a yoga class, and she posted something online about like a job, and it was like, okay, like I could do this, I might have interest in this. And I talked to her, and within 2 weeks, I was in the office. And at this moment, I did not know I was manifesting this. But turns out, like now looking back, every little step that I was taking, like, so I was in the media industry, And I've always wanted, like to become a writer when I was a kid. I always watched like rom-coms, like girls going into the office writing like lifestyle blogs, like doing things like that. I've always wanted to do that when I was a kid. And for some reason, I've always learned the right skills. I learned creative writing. I was, connecting with the right people without me actually knowing it. So this part of manifestation was actually me letting go, like me not knowing, like not holding on so strongly that like, oh, I have to do this. And this is the beauty of it. And this is like a major thing that I learned with manifestation was that sometimes, like a lot of times in life, a lot of things we cannot control, and it's totally okay because life will bring you to something so unexpected and so much more beautiful than you could have ever planned. And turns out every little thing you were doing in the process was for you to have that goal eventually.
I love what you said about like basically Leanne's whole story is kind of about letting life happen to you. And sometimes when you lose that sense of control, you feel like, okay, wait a second, I don't want to control anymore. And just let life unfold in front of your eyes. It's literally sometimes how the most beautiful things in your life happen. But I know you might be thinking like, okay, we're talking about manifestation, and then, okay, it's, going with life's flow is the most beautiful thing. What the heck is manifestation, right? So I think that's actually where showing up comes in. That's where self-awareness comes in. For me, my manifestation journey, I think it honestly started from a very young age without me noticing. Like I started doing like online business when I was in middle school, and throughout like my high school, and then I stopped until I got into uni. And I actually moved out of my family home when I was 19. So when I got into uni, because I knew that my family was not healthy for my mental health. So for the sake of my mental well-being, I had to move out, and I did. If you ask me at 19, where did that courage come from? I don't even know a woman in Hong Kong who doesn't live with their family if they don't have a partner, because I was single, I moved out on my own. And that courage was actually built through me doing all the little businesses when I was in high school, when I was in middle school. And I trust myself so much because I was able to make all these little things happen. And so that was obviously how I slowly built up my self-trust. And so in a way, I was able to be this courageous to move out. And obviously a lot of things happened after like I moved out. And I think manifestation and going with the flow, like you have to know that there is a sweet balance between the two. Like you could plan, you could manifest, you can visualize, you can actually draft plans how you could show up, like draw barometers of, measuring if I'm up to the progress that I want to have. But at the same time, I think going with the flow is always like a constant reminder for yourself that, okay, I want this, I visualize this, that's the ultimate version that I want to become. But I am happy with the current version that I am. I am happy with what's happening in my life. I'm still letting my life lead me in the way that it should, but I'm not forgetting the inspirations that I'm getting from life. I'm not forgetting how people inspire me, and I put them all, like I jot them all down in my journal. And essentially when I become so aware of what I get triggered by, what I'm drawn into, what my intuition tells me, then I know like every day I'm still discovering myself, I'm still rediscovering myself, reinventing myself. So I think for me, manifestation is also holding that space, that room for your own growth, and being aware that there's always room for growth, there's always room for changes to happen, there's always room for life to happen to you. But there's like a sweet balance between, okay, I'm ambitious, I want to get there, I see her, but right now I'm here. I'm happy with being here, but I still want to get there, and I'll still, think of ways to get there, and not being lost in there. I would say everything, every detail is something so important. So that would be my sharing.
But I think basically Leanne and Bernice also mentioned the power of letting go and trusting the universe, because for me, I feel like the whole journey of manifestation, the only thing that's blocking me is whenever I have doubts or negative self-talk. Because your positive switch to negative talk, self-talk, or you're thinking negatively, of course you're going to attract things that's not going to go in your way. I'm not sure if you've had that, but let's say if you have had a bad day, you've already told yourself, oh shit, today's a bad day, and you go out, probably you can't catch any cabs, and then you're going to miss a bus, and then a lot of distractions things are going to happen in the same day. All because you're just telling yourself, oh god, it's going to be a bad day. And basically what I want to say is that if, say you have had the doubt, or if you had the power that you want to control the outcome, most likely you're not going to manifest anything. And so my story with manifestation, it's kind of similar to what Leanne and Bernice has a mixture of, because my story is a bit different. So I've had depression since I was 13 to 23. Basically, imagine me gloomy Gianne the whole time. I wouldn't be sitting here connecting to anyone, probably hiding at home, binge watching shows or scrolling on Instagram and comparing myself to others. I was really in a very dark and emotional stage where I am worthless, I'm useless, I don't see any value in myself, that whole 10 years. And I think the switching point in my life is where I feel like I'm making everyone else around me sad. My parents, my brother, my partner, they're all really sad to just connect with me. Whenever I'm around, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, here's the queen, let's see if she's happy today. Oh, Gianne is angry, let's not talk to her. I'm making everyone like so scared, and so I look into myself internally, really trying to find ways. I did not go to a psychiatrist or taking any medications. I went for a really alternative, holistic way. So I tried talking to different therapists, but the only healer or practitioner that really worked with me was the one that taught me. First, she told me affirmations, which I've never heard of before. Affirmations, manifestations, positive thinking, all these things I've never heard in my life. Never learned that I could actually control my emotions, blah, blah, blah. And so basically she told me, Gianne, if you believe that you have the ability to attract different people in your life, say all the people that you've met up till, I'm not sure if you're 20-ish or 30-ish, imagine you can meet frequency of people, not the one that you've met in your past life. You can and you will, but all you have to do is something internally. You have to hear, you have to change something. You have to have that switch, and then you'll be able to meet different people. So I have had that switch when she told me that I can. I was like, how can I see that in my life? Because I see darkness and I don't see any light. But then it's just the struggle in between you and yourself, because all the mindset values is all that I learned in the past 20-ish years. Can you really break through what you've learned and unlearn everything that you have? If you can, I don't see what any other concept that you can't accept, because what we have learned is what we have learned in school or what we have learned from anyone. But did anyone tell you manifestation actually work? Not in a very spiritual way, but we all have done that. And so I would split the tools into 6 steps. I think Bernice and Leanne just shared some of them, because my struggle is 10 years, I see that I have no future. But then when my mentor, healer, practitioner tell me, Gianne, don't believe in those things that you've learned in the 20-ish years in your life. Forget that. Just tell me now, what do you want in your life? Probably something that all you can think about. What do you want to be? And I told myself, I want to become a singer. And so this year I signed up to a competition, singer to be, not sure if I'm in, but at least I'm trying to make steps, changes, because there are no boundaries. When I was in school, people tell us that we can only have like one route, we have to choose which subject we want to go into, and then university. And because of the depression, I went into 3 different universities. I don't know which major I wanted to go into. I went for an early child education. I did not do that. I started my own companies. I started a company that talks about CBD and the mental healthness, and now I'm doing like marketing, and then building a community with Bernice. And I also wanted to become a singer. And you see so many things happening in my life. And I think a few years back then I would be judging myself for going into the wrong path or choosing wrong ways. But when I meet these ladies, they are exactly the same as me, because they also have different things going on in their life. Leanne has her podcast channel, but she is also working on her own page. And we all have so much to talk about basically because we have the right mindset and we know that specific tools can help us to go for the goals that we set into. So the first thing is clarity of intent. But basically, first step is visualization, how you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years, dream big. And the second thing is, of course, positive mindset, because as I just mentioned, if you're not in a positive mindset, you won't be able to attract anything. And even the things you visualize would not be a good outcome if you're not in a positive mindset. And of course, taking actions. The action is not just by, what the YouTube video have just taught us to repeatedly write prompts. Of course, some prompts and affirmation helps, but again, the prompts is basically rewiring our brain muscle into actually tricking our brain to think that we already achieved what we visualize ourselves in. Yeah, I guess my part of sharing is that it's visualization and then taking actual actions. And the last step is to let go of all the controls that you feel like you need to, because I think Bernice also just mentioned it's contradicting where you feel like you can manifest things, but at the same time we're telling you to trust the universe. So what is this? How to strike a balance? For me, I would say always you have to trust the universe, because manifestation is not asking you to control your life, but to find tools to help you achieve to what the universe is pushing you towards to. So sometimes we do see signals in life. Say Leanne, she's lost because she doesn't know where this job is coming from. But probably it's because the constant seeds that she's planting, maybe the people she's meeting, and hence she is able to meet someone online to just give her a job. Something like that, that doesn't make sense and you don't know where this is coming from. But you have to trust the seeds that you're planting. Say this event, I have no idea where you ladies come from, but probably it's the different seeds that we planted on social media, and hence you are here to listen to this conversation.
Both ladies have mentioned affirmations and a positive mindset. And there is a flip side to that, because I personally have fallen into a trap called toxic positivity.
Yes.
When I first discovered affirmation, I thought it could solve all my problems. I thought I needed to journal every day. Yeah, exactly. I could only create this image of being positive and being so happy that if I'm sad today, I will, like you said, I will not get a cab, I will attract all these bad things. But that's not the case. And I think with manifestation, we also need to accept that there are good and bad sides to us innately, and there are days where we need to rest, where we feel like shit, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that things will not work out for you. And I think it's accepting who you are and embracing there are all these different things, and those bad days, those sadness, those negative emotions are not 100% you. Even at that moment when you feel so angry, so upset, they are just a part of you at that moment. And I think I was very harsh on myself, trying to be positive all the time, and I post on social media, and I always try to post positive things, and would hide when I'm in bed and being sad and everything. But no, that's real life, and also just embracing that side of you. A lot of the times we will use our brains a lot. I don't know if you ladies know about the 3 different brains that we have. So we have the brain, we have the heart brain, and we have the gut brain. And a lot of the times when these brains are misaligned, we're lost. We don't know what we want to do. And we just use our brain function to let us be on a survival mode. So that's how anxiety, a lot of the negative emotions come about, and we don't know what we want to do. But you do, you do know what you want to do, you do know what you can achieve, and those are all in your heart. And you don't recognize it in that moment, because sometimes the connection is lost. And obviously with your gut, it's the food that you consume, the exercise that you do, how well you take care of your body. If you don't have a healthy body, how can you do all the things that you want to achieve? So a personal practice that I have is I actually host weekly board meetings with all my little brains. Like I go into like a meditation mode. I really ask myself, I ask my heart, what do you want right now? You can really feel in your body if you are in the correct lifestyle that is serving your highest good. So yeah, just something that has really helped me.
I think that we all have to learn more about how our body works, because as women, I think we go through menstrual cycle every 28 days, and each week we have a different mold. But PMS, that the week that right before your period, we love to force ourselves and think that we can do something, right? Because I think we all wanted to manifest to see in ourselves like perfect version, like as soon as possible, right? But then when days that we're not feeling so good, we will, I don't know, blame ourselves for not having the best body to do the things that we want to. But that is actually the time to remind yourself, why are you rushing? What are you working towards to? If eventually your goal is to make yourself happy, then for the worst day of your month, you have to make yourself happy. Come on, you're not gonna make yourself work during, I don't know, period is the most tiring days for me, for my body, and I always forgot to remind myself that I need to rest. Those few days were for me to rest and not to rush things. And also, I think Leanne, just now she mentioned like the importance of trusting the process, of not controlling the outcome. For the first 2 years of my manifestation journey, I would say I would always be frustrated whenever the outcomes don't come immediately. Say I've been manifesting things and I see, oh, it has been a month and still this hasn't happened. And then I started doubting, is this thing working? Am I doing this correct? Or is manifesting really works? But then that is actually the time where the universe is reminding you. The things that you want does not mean the things that you need. And the universe is going to give you the right things at the right moment. So I think always checking yourself with yourself and also with your body. I think it could be a daily practice to check in with your body, because we all have so much on our to-do list, and oftentimes we just go ahead with the to-do list. We wake up, we have the robotic mode, we know we have to go out, we have to get ready, we just work like a machine. We don't really have to think a lot. But if we really get the time to think, we actually really should just think about, what I want to do today? Do I really want to follow the schedule? I know if I accomplish all these tasks, it's going to make me feel really, I don't know, like I accomplished something, and it's making me feel productive, and I will feel good. So I think balance is the key as well, because there are so many things that we want in life. First lesson we have to learn, positive mindset, is not just think positively, but to be satisfied with right now. Because we're all doing our best. We always compare achievement, but really we're just human. And all we need to do on a daily basis is just to take care of this body. Just to nurture ourselves with food, with love, exercise, just healthy body. But in this society, we calculate how much work we do. We all come here because we want to learn how to be better. But I want to tell you that we're all doing so good because you're here. A lot of people don't even care about self-growth. They don't even care whether or not they're a good person.
Yeah.
So I feel like give yourself a pat on your shoulder and tell yourself that you're doing so good already. But then, of course, we wanted to help you achieve whatever you wanted to achieve. So yeah, I think first, if you ask me, the key is to have the positive self-talk. If you're a happy person, wherever you go, people see that, oh, that girl, she's glowing, she's so happy, I want to talk to her, I want to be friends with her, and then connections will just come. And if you know everyone in the room, people will want to help you.
One thing I really, really wanted to mention about positive mindset, because it's easy to get into the, rabbit hole of toxic positivity, and I don't want you guys to ever be in there. Positive mindset is really through reminding myself balance. What I talked about earlier, I mentioned balance, and I think balance is key to quite literally everything. Like, I want this, but I'm happy with who I am now. So there's the balance, right? I still want that. I'm not like completely happy with where I am, so I still want to get there, but I'm not pushing myself so much that I'm not happy that I'm here right now, right? So you need to have that balance. And I think positive mindset is also gratitude. I think nobody has mentioned gratitude yet, and I think gratitude is one of the most important practice when you're manifesting. Reason is, if you're not happy with where you are now, if you're not happy with the progress that you have already made, how are you motivated to make the progress that you want to make? If you're not grateful, you will constantly feel like you're in a bottleneck situation. And I think gratitude practice, especially for me, I'm a sucker for journaling, so I journal every day, and I think when it comes to journaling, you could literally write about anything. I'm honestly grateful for just gathering here, connecting you women, and sharing this amazing conversation, and I don't know, feeling so fulfilled. Like this is at least one thing I'm grateful for today. And even with just one thing on my list, no matter how shit my day goes, I could still go home and be like, this is that one thing that made today perfect. So then I'm able to have this sustainable happiness in my life, and that has been so far the best tool in terms of manifestation, because I'm really happy on a day-to-day basis. A lot of us, we don't see how blessed we are because of what we have been told. Gianne mentioned earlier, like ask yourself, is this what you want? The question I ask myself most often is, does this set your soul on fire? If it doesn't, fuck it, I'm not doing it. And when you're so aligned with what makes you happy, and you're doing that most of the time, and you're being grateful that you're doing this for yourself, come on, you're going to be happy, you're going to be motivated. And I'm not saying you should feel like that every day. That's most of the best days. I have my shit days, and when the shit days come, it's like I could be in bed all day not wanting to do anything, but I'm happy with that version of me as well. That is gratitude. That is the best way to manifest, because we have to also know we're freaking humans. So I do think that it's really important that we know when we ask ourselves, what do I want? And these thoughts will slowly surface when you journal. Basically spend time with yourself and get down to, okay, what do I feel? What do I want? What sets my soul on fire? And then you slowly realize, like, all my life, and I don't even want that. And when you realize that, that's where your journey begins. I have literally manifested so many things in my life because I believed that it was possible for me. Like on another panel, I have shared that I basically started dancing when I was probably 5-6 years old, and I was dancing for probably more than 15 years of my life, but I never thought that I could be a professional dancer, because all my life my mom always told me, you're fat, you're not pretty enough, you're not a good enough dancer. I believed her. So 15 years into dancing, I was still, just treating it like a hobby. And then I was studying in the UK, and then I was in this dance studio, and the people there, culture as well, they made me feel I wasn't so bad of a dancer. When I was in the dance studios in Hong Kong, people wouldn't really cheer for you. If you're kind of good, they're like, oh, do you think you're all that? That was what I got, yeah. And then when I was in the UK, people would actually come up to me and they would tell me, Bernice, you did so good, And it's also the environment surrounding you, right? And so when I was in the UK, I was surrounded by all these, positive talk. And I was able to notice that I was having all this negative self-talk when I was alone. And that was essentially what put me down. And I practiced there 1 month, and I was a choreographer in the UK. Of course, I'm not saying, the 15 years that goes into dancing before that month wasn't important. I wasn't saying that. That was the seed that I was planting. But without the seeds, I would never have been there. But what really changed for me was mindset. I've always got all these moves, but I didn't believe it. But as soon as I started to believe it, 1 month, and I freaking made it happen. And coming back to Hong Kong, I did concerts, commercials. I made that happen in just months because I shifted my mindset, and it was so magical. And then I don't dance, I'm not dancing professionally anymore now. I'm doing some other things because I believed that it was possible, and it became possible.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good reminder for us to think about how usually we receive compliment. Honestly, these few years when I've been meeting more people, like different vibe people, when people are telling me, Gianne, you're such a nice person, I will be like, I don't know how to respond. I don't even know how to say thank you because I don't agree to that. But now I would be like, yes, thank you, thank you. We all have to learn to accept compliments because people see that in you, and if you don't see that in you, why? They see the good things in you, and all you have to do is just see the good things in you as well. Why would you say no to all the good things coming in your way? So we have to change the way how we speak to ourselves as well.
And also, I think one more note on receiving comments, like people's opinions whatsoever. I think we always have to have this reminder in ourselves that whatever people say to you, whatever people judge you for, that's their problem. It's not your problem. It's a projection of how they feel about themselves. Like, I don't judge anyone because I don't judge myself. I don't find the need to judge anyone because I'm so happy with who I am, and I accept that there's individuality in each one of us. What's the point of judging someone? Like, you're not that someone. Just always remind yourself that nothing people ever say about you is about you. Just identify those people. Who are the people? Who are the friends? Where you finish, like a dinner with them and you come home, you're always like, oh, that was so fulfilling. Oh, my heart feels like it's expanding. Like, remember, like, these people are the people who lifts you up for real, because you have to create that environment for yourself to grow in the safest way possible. We owe ourselves that. Like, society's been doing, like putting all the system on us, and we live in the society. Okay, fine. What could you do for yourself so that you become the happiest person, the kindest version that you can be?
It's gonna change the outcome as well. You're gonna attract different people as we mentioned. But just now when Bernice were mentioning how different environment or culture could affect how we feel, I just wanted to add a little note on how, because we're all in Hong Kong, I'm not sure if you've noticed, but it's stressful and there are a lot of anger these days. People are stabbing people for real, and it's scary. It's really scary, I'm telling you. I'm born and raised here. I've never left the country for overseas study or work. So Hong Kong, to me, I always feel like it's safe. But now, I'm not saying I don't feel safe, but I feel like there's a need of more compassion. And so you start to practice more compassion when you see people.
Like what Gianne said earlier about you living in, like, the present moment is all you have, and you have to live like the version that you want to become. And the people around you play such an important part of that. It's so true that, like, you're the average of the closest, like, 5 people that you hang out with. That, and especially with the language that I talk about, I just want to add on, like, a little bit about that, because, like, I work in, like, writing and like language, right? So now whenever I feel sick, I actually don't say that I'm sick anymore. I say that I'm recovering, because it's true. Like, the first second that you start to fall sick, you are on a recovering journey. So the language is so important, because because our brain receives that. So if you say you're sick, your brain will receive the message that I am sick. And just a little bit about, like, what I'm doing right now. Like, I'm a digital nomad. Like, I have no office. I have, like, no quote unquote, like, base. And my parents will say, like, I'm unemployed. I'm like useless.
Language,
and, like,
exactly.
It's
the
just
language.
And if I let that come to
I'm
me,
self-employed.
Yeah, I'm self-employed. Yeah, I'm traveling. I'm living life.
I'm an entrepreneur.
Exactly. I'm exploring. I'm adventurous. All these things that
and
you
you're
can
brave.
share. Thank you. Yeah. So just be aware of, like, the language of how you talk to yourself, and that just makes a big difference.
I love that. On that note, I don't, like, if I'm sick or I can't make it to something, or I don't feel like making it to something, I don't say I'm sorry. Thanks for your patience. Why am I sorry? Like, why should I be sorry if I can't make it to an event because I don't feel like it? Because at that moment, I don't have the capacity for it. Like, I have to respect how my body feels. And if I respect how my body feels, why am I apologizing for how my body feels right now? So that's another thing I think I've become aware of in terms of all this messaging and how that could essentially affect how I see myself. If I'm constantly saying, I'm sorry, I really don't feel like making it to this event, but I don't feel sorry. That's going to be planted in my head. That's going to be a seed that I'm planting in my head if I did say sorry. So now I say, thank you for understanding.
I just wanted to do a little quick recap of what we really mentioned. How to manifest, basically define your goals. The second step, visualize yourself and who you want to become. And then set milestones, set some achievable milestones for yourself. And then the next step would be to have a positive mindset, where we just talked about how to cultivate a positive mindset, practice compassion, and to stay consistent on your action, but at the same time allow yourself to
Be human.
And also seek support, find accountability. I would say last year when I first met Bernice, this year when we met in January, she started to tell me how journaling can help, and I think this is my 11th month of practicing journaling. It's amazing. I help myself sort out my anger issues. I feel like having Bernice as my journaling buddy, it really helps, because when I tell her something that I see myself say, I wanted to become a singer, I tell her I wanted to, from that moment she will just say, hey Gianne, singer, Ama, you're the singer already, right? It's because my friends also see the reality already. I will be visualizing your dream already in the reality. If you say you wanted to become a dancer, in my world, Bernice is a dancer, because she told me she wants to become that. So from now on, my world, I see Bernice as a dancer. And collectively, if we all see her as a dancer, it's just years. I don't know how many years, but she is already there, because everyone is seeing that, including herself. So sharing what you see to your friends, finding accountability partners will help you see that dreams together with you. And the power is even stronger.
I think I come off as a very confident person, and most of the time I am very confident. I think we all have that. We all have those moments. But at the end of the day, you are, like you. And so definitely we all have those moments. But then again, remind yourself, you're human. I think that's the most powerful reminder.